think we might actually be live. Are you copying me there, YouTube? Hello, God bless and welcome. I'm Kevin Haggerty. You're watching the Godlogic Project, where we discuss maintaining a Christian worldview in a post-Christian America. That's not all we do around here, though. We deal with electronics. We deal with technology, and we've been having trouble with our Sling Studio not streaming to YouTube. Well, YouTube changed their updates. They updated their live streaming services and somehow screwed up the feed for Sling Studio. So I called Sling Studio to figure out why I can't stream anymore to YouTube live like we're doing right now, and they assured me they're working on it. By the way, Sling Studio, I know the equipment's expensive, but their customer service is amazing. They really do a good job for a guy like me that isn't necessarily tech savvy, right? So anyway, the equipment's expensive. Their customer service is great. It's not the first time they bailed me out. And they gave me kind of, until they solved this problem, they gave me kind of a way to backdoor my way into Sling Studio. So, and I think that's what we're doing right now. So if you would comment basically how's the audio, how's it sound, I do have a topic to talk about tonight. I don't have a guest tonight because I wasn't sure we were going to be able to go live, so I figured I'd sit down. I've been messing with this for over an hour now, and it seems to work. They seem to have it. I had to do some kind of custom RTMP thing, which, again, is not my strength. So, but here we are, going live, and I do have a topic we can talk about, but what I'm doing first is just checking that this is actually working the way I think it works now. I have, until I get to 1,000 subscribers, by the way, this is an issue. So that means that you guys, if you would, take a second, subscribe to the channel. It would be a big help for me. Now, I'm able to, strangely enough, watch some analytics while we're doing this, which is cool. Didn't do that before. Only one viewer watched, and he's still watching, I guess, or watched for 1 minute and 42 seconds. Anyway, so I think we're streaming. I'm going to check my phone. If you guys have any comments, put them in the comments section down below. What I'm going to do is track the comments on my phone here. So let me know how the audio is, if the video is glitchy or anything like that. But I can see now on my phone that we're also streaming. I don't know if anybody's watching. It looks like one person is watching. If that one person would, say hello, that'd be awesome. Let me know that the audio and video is going pretty good. I do have a topic. We're going to talk about censorship in the media. This is just kind of a one-man show topic I came up with today during the day off of a Facebook conversation I had with a friend of mine. I will follow your comments on my phone, and I'll even maybe if enough people are watching, maybe we'll even open the phone lines, let you guys call in. But let me do this. Let me invite you guys to comment here, and then we'll kind of begin to talk about what we were going to talk about. So, in the meantime, I want to thank you guys for your patience in supporting the Godlogic Project. Again, we need to get to 1,000 subscribers. That's no secret. If you haven't done so yet, do that. If you see our stuff, if you see our content on social media, we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and lots of places, Parler even. If you see our stuff, please like, share it, give it a thumbs up. Do something to interact with the show so the more people will then watch the show. It helps the algorithms, and it helps kind of get this thing off the ground. So we're at 540 subscribers. Somebody unsubscribed this week. I need to get to 1,000, not just so I could stream live and not have this headache anymore, or even to monetize, but just that there are other opportunities to do things with Facebook, with YouTube, once you get to 1,000 subscribers. So that would be a big help. We're going to talk about all this Twitter and Facebook stuff. The censorship that's going on. There's a big Senate hearing right now. Facebook, Google, and Twitter are all in front of the Senate, a Senate committee. Looks like the Twitter guy might have lied under oath today. So we'll see what becomes of that. My guess is it won't be too much of anything. But so today, anyway, here we are. Today I'm on Facebook. I'm going to assume, by the way, that the audio and video is good. Looks like it's good to me. if you're watching, then go ahead and comment on at least the audio quality. But anyway, so I'm on Facebook today, and a buddy of mine puts an ad up, and I'm going to share that article with you. Not an ad, but an article. And I have a lot of left-wing friends, right? So I don't delete people for disagreeing with me on Facebook politically. In fact, the only guy that I've ever deleted on Facebook was a conservative, and he's the only guy that I've deleted in this political environment. But he was arguing with my son's great-grandmother, and I asked him not to be rude, and then he came back and was rude to this little old lady again. So I gave him the axe. You know who you are. Had to do it. I asked you nicely. It's my platform. It's my Facebook. If you're going to interact with people on my Facebook, be nice. That's all I ask. If I ask you to be polite and you don't be polite, expect to get dumped. Expect to get unsubscribed or whatever you do on Facebook, unfollowed or unliked or whatever. But I don't dislike the guy personally, but I do, there is a certain degree of behavior I would expect from people on my Facebook. Anyway, it wasn't this guy. This guy is a good friend of mine. We've been friends a long time, and he's a never Trumper. He's a super left-wing guy, and I'll be honest with you, I love the guy. He's smart. He's even been on the show, but a lot of his arguments are not very strong. And that one thing, I like to. I'm not a big Trump guy. I think that he's doing a good job. I really do think he doing way better than I thought he was going to do. I don't know if that's any kind of standard at all, but for me, he's doing better than I ever expected him to do. So kudos to the guy. I find myself, by the way, rooting for Trump because it seems like I've never seen anybody under such relentless attack in my life, and he does seem to handle it pretty well. So anyway, not a huge Trump fan. I would have voted for Cruz. Didn't get the opportunity, so Trump's the answer. Certainly wasn't going to be Hillary one way or another. I knew that. I was not going to vote. In fact, the day before the election last year, I've already voted in this election because it's so important that we vote, particularly now. Not only that we vote, regardless of who you vote for, that we get a good. If everybody voted, we'd have a pretty good idea of where the country is really at. So. You hear a lot of talk about a silent majority. I think there is a silent majority, so I think that I do think that there are people that don't want to. Hold on, I'm going to share. I forgot. I'm going to share us to Facebook. There are people that simply don't want to say they're Trump fans. I don't blame them. It's not a very Trump-friendly environment, right? But hold on, I'm sharing us to Facebook. So anyway, it's not a great time to speak publicly about politics, but maybe that's the time that we really should be doing it, right? So, so my buddy, big left-wing guy, and we're very good friends. We get along. We bust each other's chops quite a bit, and but he put up an article by Forbes magazine that. It's one of these situations where the headline is almost unbelievable, and then the article, once you read it, is kind of lets you down. So I don't want to put my buddy out on Front Street or anything, so I'm not going to use his name, but I am going to use the article and talk about the conversation we had via Facebook today. Here's the article. So the article is White House lists ending COVID-19 pandemic as a Trump accomplishment. So according to Forbes magazine, which is not a rag, right? I mean, I don't have much respect for the mainstream media anymore. I think if nothing else has come from this Trump administration, we've seen the nature of our media. We've seen the underbelly of our media. They will go to no lengths. They'll go to any length to forward a political agenda. So, and which, by the way, is a big problem in the United States. And whether you're a conservative or Republican, you should see that as a big problem. So if you take the Soviet Union and Pravda, they had to toe the party line, right? They had no choice but to toe the party line, or they'd be dead and their family be dead, or they'd be in Siberia or something terrible. But these guys here, they volunteer to toe the party line, and that's kind of, to me, that's kind of disheartening. So I'm fiddling a little bit with the Sling Studio here. So I could put myself in. Yeah, there we go. We'll put myself in the article up. So anyway, these guys don't have to toe the party line. They choose to toe the party line. Now, whether they're making money at it or political influence or whatever, they're benefiting obviously somehow from it. So with the plunging numbers of their viewership, we would have to assume that their ad sales are going down drastically. And yet they are relentless in the pursuit of the Democratic or the left-wing agenda. So there's something up. But you could almost have respect for the journalists at Pravda during the Soviet Union because they had to toe the party line. But I have no respect for these guys because they've sold out. And I don't think I realized until the last 6 or 8 years or 10 years or whatever that how important a free and fair press is. And so we're getting that. We're really paying the price for that, and we're really going to pay the price for that from now on if this isn't straightened out. So anyway, we have Twitter. Not reporting on the Biden scandal, right? The Hunter Biden scandal. So they find a laptop. It's got all these condemning or incriminating emails in it. A guy comes out, Bublowski or something like that, and he just spills his guts about his shady dealings with the Bidens, and there is zero reporting on it. In fact, Twitter and Facebook won't even let you post about it. So if you post about it, they block it. They take it down. They've shut off it's a New York Post article that started the whole thing. They shut off the New York Post ad. Today, whatever the guy's name is from Twitter tells Senator Ted Cruz that was fixed in 24 hours. This happened several weeks ago. Ted Cruz tries to share that article on Twitter, and he can't. It's blocked. So he tells under oath, he tells the Senate that it's taken care of. It's not taken care of. It's still going on. We're less than a week before a major election. This is very concerning. Now, I've always had a problem with sensational headlines where the article does not, it's kind of a letdown. The article does not reflect the intent of the headline. Make sense? So that's not an uncommon problem to have, and I've seen it a lot of times. But just today, I saw it again with my friend's post. So the article is by Forbes, and again, Forbes is not the Onion, and it's not the Bumblebee or whatever the other one is. It is a respectable, or it was at one point, a respectable news outlet, right? So, by the way, I don't think there's too many respectable news outlets left, but the headline is the White House lists ending COVID-19 pandemic as a Trump accomplishment. So immediately I'm thinking to myself, if they said this is the stupidest thing they could have possibly said, and I want to learn more. So I read the article. And by the way, read the articles. Don't just fall for the titles or the headlines of the article. Read the article, because a lot of times when it's too hard to believe, they're lying, right? They're misleading you and this is by far a misleading headline right here. So anyway, I read through the article, and there's Trump with holding his fist up there, and so I read through the article, and I can't see in the article where the White House says that they ended the COVID pandemic or the COVID virus in America. So I'm skeptical, right? And so I don't usually participate in these kind of political pissing contests on Facebook, but I did this morning, and I put on my buddy's thing, did you read this article? And he came back with a little while later. Let me get the actual exchange that we had here. But he came back with, yes, did you, or something along those lines. So I said, did you read this article? And he says, you mean the part about claiming to eradicate something that is in fact becoming worse? Sure. Did you? So I reread the article. Can't find where they said they eradicated the COVID virus, but I can find something that comes pretty close. And here it is. This, I think, is as close as they come to actually saying they ended the COVID virus. By the way, they in no way do they say they ended the COVID virus. It's political hackery. It is lack of integrity in the media. It's an excellent example of that. So it says, yet the White House office they talk about how bad COVID is. My opinion is it's bad, but it's not as bad as they make it out to be. They're politicizing it. Anyway, yet the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, I didn't know there was one of those, asserted in the report that Trump administration has taken several actions to engage scientists in academia, industry, and government to understand and defeat this disease. That is the closest thing to saying they've ended the pandemic in the article. Now, and then they go on to list all the bad things about Trump, which is not uncommon, right? So everybody's out to get Trump. Not a huge Trump fan, but you got to admit, I have to admit that these guys are just out to get him. There's no other way of looking at it. I mean, it's just a disaster. So anyway, so I go back through the article, and it's not in there, and of course it's not in there because they didn't say it, right? So so we go back through the article. It's not in there. It's really like everything that I read nowadays, an anti-Trump rant that really nothing new. There's nothing that we didn't already know, right? The closest thing we get to them saying they ended it is that they've taken several actions to engage scientists in academia, industry, government to understand and defeat this disease. And I think they have, or at least I would hope they have. So they've certainly done that. I think 7 months ago or whenever it was, we had no idea what we're up against. We knew nothing about this virus. Now, 6 or 7 months into it, we know an awful lot about it, and it's not as bad as it could have been or as it would have been. Now, people have died. There's no doubt about that, but it's not what they said it was. But anyway, I took that little part that I highlighted there. I'll go back to my conversation with my buddy here, and I said, "Do you mean?" And then I quoted the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. So it's the same thing we just read. Have taken several actions to engage scientists in academia, industry, government to understand and defeat this disease. And I said, is this what you mean by they ended the COVID virus? And he said, that ain't a glowing testament, kid. It says the White House asserted, which basically means lied about. So I did my hand, one of these numbers emoji or whatever it is. But this is a guy that I know and like, and I have respect for this guy. He's not a dumb guy. Most of my left-wing friends, by the way, pretty smart people for the most part, if they're older. Some of the younger folks really not sure what they believe, but they know they believe it because it makes people like them. And I think that acceptance is a lot of the reason why people kind of fall for some of this nonsense. But I just thought it was an interesting real-life example of what happens when you read the articles in social media, but you don't read when you read the headlines in social media, but you don't read the articles. Big mistake, right? So that was my experience with it today. This is a test, by the way, of a new way for me to stream live to Facebook, and it's complicated. You got to enter RMTPs and stuff like that, but here we are. We're doing it. It worked. I did want to bring up the danger, I think, in I don't think people that post things like that or repost things like that realize how dangerous that rhetoric is. Now, that doesn't mean that only happens on the left. It happens on the right as well. But the Democrats have everything in their favor. They have half the country are Democrats, roughly half are Republicans. I'm an independent, but I'm probably a Republican. If I had to choose between the two, I'm definitely a Republican. I could never imagine myself ever voting for a Democrat again. Since Obama, and now 8 years of Obama and 4 years of Trump, the Democratic Party just seem like an organized crime family to me. They have absolute control over academia of colleges and scientists and things like that. And they have absolute control over the media, except for Fox. And even Fox, not everybody on Fox is a conservative, in my view, or certainly not at least a Trump supporter. So it's just disappointing, and it should be disappointing for everybody. We can laugh about it, and we have fun with it. And I talk about this with people on a personal level. It's funny, and there's certainly a lot of jokes that have come out in the last 4 years with Trump being president. The guy is I mean, he's boorish, right? He says what he wants. I wish he didn't tweet all the things that people don't like about him. But I find myself rooting for the guy because while he's a buffoon, he's doing a great job. I mean, statistically speaking, most of the things that the Democrats are pumping up and pumping into the media as major problems in the United States are not major problems at all. So we need to calm down, relax. Hey, if you're going to vote, regardless of who you vote for, it's important that you vote this year. This year, I think it's a good time in American history to really know where we stand as a country. Now, as Christians, of course, as a Christian, I can say for myself, I feel like kind of a third-party observer to this whole thing. In other words, Trump wins, I think stuff gets sideways real quick. Biden wins, I think stuff gets sideways slowly. I think that they're going to come for guns. That's going to be a big issue. They're going to, like Beto promised, he would shut down churches that didn't do same-sex marriages, or he would at least take away their 501(c), which in essence is shutting down. Most churches can't survive without that. So either way, I think it's things are not going to be good. Now, I think, by the way, my gut feeling is Trump's going to win, and he's probably going to win pretty big. So I would expect, the predictable riots in the streets and everything else that we saw in 2016. I don't think the Democrats are just going to change their ways. The left is not going to just lay down and say, well, we tried, it didn't work. Let's go back to kind of a centralist policy. Let's go back to being Kennedy Democrats or even Clinton Democrats, Bill, not Hillary. I think they're just going to continue to double down on the socialism and most of the lies, most of the anti-American rhetoric and lies that they've been spewing honestly for 12 years. So that's it. Looks like we did well. Looks like we went live, and we had some viewers, some people watching. Doing this custom RTMP thing does not send out an alert that I'm going live. So the people that do subscribe to the channel didn't get alert for this. But it was a good test. It was a good topic. If you guys want to comment down below, I do go back and read those comments, and I'll follow up on those comments for you. And then if you like it, give it a thumbs up. Don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Hardly matters to me. In either case, comment, share the content. When you see our stuff on social media, share that. Help raise awareness for this thing. And if there's any way that you guys can help me get subscribers, I'd really appreciate it. If there's any way that I can help you with anything, message me at godlogicproject.com. If you're struggling with addiction, we do a lot of that stuff around here. If you got a chemical addiction or even emotional or spiritual issues that you're dealing with, if you just need prayer, if you just need somebody to talk to, message me at godlogicproject.com. I had a long message from somebody this morning. I've got to get back to them. It was a lot I had to digest. This was a very rough situation. I want to handle it correctly. I do have some resources for that lady, and I will get back with her today. That's it. If I can do anything for you guys, please let me know. All I ask that you do for me is share our content, participate in the podcast when we're on the air, and subscribe. Ask people to subscribe. It only takes a second, and it's free, but it's a big help to me. That's it. No one told you they love you today. God loves you. So do I. Receive that. Be blessed.